That just looks like confetti men?
Confetti men? Those aren't a thing. She runs over to show Lewis
Oh.
now.
I mean, they aren't a thing, but that's what they look like.
Lewis is working on the machine to get it out. He's finally got it out of the housing. He looks at the picture and just says, what the hell is that?
I know. Maybe we should get back. Or...
I'm almost done. Keep an eye out. Just keep watch.
Okay.
Right after he says that, there is the sound of shuffling moving towards your group.
Marisol freezes and slowly looks in the direction of the sound.
It is another pale, blank person kind of slowly shuffling towards your group out of the shadows.
Simone will walk towards it a little bit and give it a little wave.
It waves back and continues to approach.
She's probably curious, so she's like maybe standing still, quirking her head a little bit.
It's just shuffling right towards you.
See if it has a sleep slide.
She'll reach out to see if it does actually have one, or if it's more of a inanimate object.
With your stand, or?
Yeah, stand.
When your stand reaches towards it, it reaches towards your stand. Do you want to make contact with this thing?
Sure.
How?
Just touch it.
If you're reaching out with your stand's hand and it's reaching out with its hand, it touches your stand hand and begins to melt and mold and merge with it. You feel your hand go numb. You can't feel it anymore.
She kind of maybe tries to pull away.
You can't. It's actually merging with your stand.
Oh.
Marisol's looking at this and just going like, this is intriguing to you?
Yes, I've been...
That looks absolutely crazy to me. What if it... I can't tell if you need help or not because of your reaction. Does it feel good or something?
My hand's a little numb.
Your arm is going numb now. And for the record, this does not feel normal or safe. This thing is taking over your agency of self. At first, it was maybe just a curiosity. I'm going to tell you right now, it feels not like a good idea, I'm going to say. Just your survival instinct would probably tell you this thing is not good.
At this point, she'll probably use her actual second ability and insert a slide, and instead of how it's maybe absorbing, it try to force it out.
You want to insert a sleep slide into its head?
Yeah.
When you try to put a sleep slide into its head, like how the confetti men were confetti, its whole skin flesh begins to shimmer and turn into almost scales of glass with liquid images being displayed on them. So it absorbs the sleep slide, but it absorbs it and then turns into a thing.
Holy shit! What the hell did you do to it?
Seems like it absorbs whatever touches it, and then turns into an amalgamation, perhaps? She's kind of theorizing this at this point.
You're theorizing this as this thing is like absorbing up to, like, I'm going to say your shoulder now. You have a pretty limited amount of time here to deal with this, because at any moment, really, it could reach your organs. And if it were to reach something like your brain or your heart, that could be a big problem.
Yeah, I have no idea how to deal with it.
Marisol's gonna take a knife out from her little side pouch and charge it up with Ripple. Hey, Simone. I'm gonna try throwing this at it. I'm really sorry if this backfires.
Go for it.
It takes 1 shift of damage, and Simone, you take 1 shift of damage.
Oh boy.
The pain is being transferred towards you. I will say, on the note of Ripple, when it does get hit with the Ripple, its skin starts to bubble and pop. You, aside from your stand, have your supernatural martial arts. You did learn spin. This is something that's alive, weirdly. How would you use spin to try to rectify this situation if you could?
Perhaps reversing what it's doing, like a backward spin, instead of how it's absorbing.
Repulsion, rejection.
Yeah, repulsion.
So let's go over how spin works, I guess. You're dealing with kind of the circular energies of life and force. Where do you want to apply it exactly? At the point of contact, on its body?
Yeah, at the point of contact, I would say, where she touched.
It's kind of like merging into your stand. So I'll say it's like sort of at the elbow or middle point where your arm really should have been. If you apply spin to this thing while it's still in its more nascent form, well, you know what? Actually, give me a roll for it.
Okay.
And we'll determine based on the results. With a 1...
She'll probably invoke her scientist with a renewed zest for life.
Because you want to live, right?
Yes.
This thing is going to kill you. It's maybe if you're lucky gonna kill you. This is an alien life form that seems to be absorbing, doing something to your nervous system, your biology. It's very odd. So you want to invoke that, you get a +2. What'll happen in that case is you will be able to pull your stand's arm out of this thing's body as its form kind of distorts and twists when you apply the spin to it. The way that you would do it, by the way, is you would whip your stand's arm, like whatever's left of it, at the shoulder. I kind of like twist your body to try to whip some kind of spinning or circular force through it, like through its form. When you do that, you can like basically whip off this thing. It would be missing its own arm, but your arm is still dead. Not dead, but you can't feel it. So you have a moderate consequence. Your left arm is non-responsive.
Marisol looks like she's a little panicked. Like the look on her face. She's looking around. Simone, it looked like, what do we do?
And she kind of looks at her arm. I still can't feel it, but oh well. We'll figure something out.
It looks like it's merging more into you?
It's felt like it, or at least felt like something was happening. I'm not sure exactly what.
There are 3 more shuffling sounds coming from the shadows.
Oh boy.
Ooh, oh boy.
Marisol slowly turns around.
Yeah, they're coming, and one of them is mimicking you.
She backs away from it quickly.
It is shuffling. One of them steps over a kind of discarded screw that Lewis had tossed aside, some kind of piece of metal. When its foot falls over it, its whole form begins to ripple, and slowly it begins to turn into kind of a junky looking metal golem of sorts, and it's starting to pick up speed because of that.
Marisol's gonna take out a water bottle, and have you seen that bottle cap thing where it ripple, you just pop it? She's gonna try that at one that hasn't been merged yet. You know, she's also gonna like throw the water after it too, just to see what happens.
2 things splash. Wow. When those 2 things splash it at once, the force of the ripple, the bottle cap, the energy, the one that you struck stops, distorts, its upper torso begins to inflate like a bubble, and then it just pops and explodes, sending water and plastic in all directions. And then the legs kind of just keep walking until it eventually just falls over, like on its side.
Simone, maybe we need to make it not solid?
Perhaps.
Lewis has wrapped up what he's doing. He looks at the approaching figures. The hell are those?
We can't let them touch us, not even our stand. They are merging with Simone, and I don't know what to do about it. One of them did, like, explode, though.
I know what to do about it.
What's your idea?
Run.
Yeah. Simone, do you think you can run?
Sure. I can definitely still run.
Where do you guys want to run to?
Back to the house?
I would say back to the house.
Then that's going to take you back through the central sandy chamber. Making it past these guys, not hard. They're pretty slow. But once you get out to the central chamber, you will see there's about 20 of them shuffling around on the weird floor, the sandy desert floor that he has out there. They're all made of sand, so you just see sand golems kind of marching around. They're spread out.
We might have to just duck and weave through these things.
Actually, out of curiosity, how would I go about finding the golden?
Finding the golden ratio?
Yes.
Well, you would need your calipers for it, and you would need to spend a turn figuring out the golden ratio of the space you're in, and you would have to tell me what it is that you're trying to apply it to.
Probably going to spend the turn then taking out her calipers and everything.
Go ahead and give me a spin roll. This is going to be a pretty high passive difficulty because you're in an alien ship. This is going to be a 4. Really, it should be a 5 or 6, but I don't think that would be reasonable right now. You can try to apply 2 invokes to try to reach a 4. It's up to you.
This does seem pretty hectic, so perhaps rising to face the challenge. Since there's like 20 of them and one of them has already tried to absorb themselves into me.
So you have found something like the golden ratio here. It's a little weird, but you might be able to work out your next action. I'm going to say with your golden ratio, what you're trying to do is use it to get past danger, correct?
Yes, either getting them away or at least slowing them down in some way.
So with your 2 invokes, your finding of the golden ratio, and your need to get to safety, what I would recommend is that you have ascertained the perfect path to lead your group out of danger, away from these things, and back to the beach house without the possibility of them touching you. Like the turns and twists that you make, if you remember Lord Cambria, the way that he danced, for example,
Right.
the way that these things mimic movement and mirror it when they're close enough, you can turn and twist and take paths around the columns and all that. I'll maintain a proper speed that will lead you. Like if you're at the way that you would imagine it is that you're at the top of the golden ratio and the beach house is at the center where you want to be. So basically you figure out the perfect path to get there, including action. Applying spin to this situation means turning your body, making curves, that sort of thing, to duck, dodge, and weave if they ever do get close. And if your group follows you, then they should be safe as well.
She'll then look at the scene and look at everything going on. Say, this is going to sound weird, but follow me and do everything I do, and you'll be perfectly safe. She kind of then starts to move and twist and turn around obstacles and weave like tango.
So yeah, as you're doing that, you will notice that when you move or as you're falling along on the ground or just even the flow of the air, they curve in a certain way. Like there's lines in the sand that are curved like that. And with that sort of knowledge and that instinct, you can do that. You can spin around. And whenever one of these blanked starmen tries to approach, when you spin that tango style, they try to spin too and then just fall over. Too clumsy for it. If Lord Cambria were here, he would probably have a giggle. Though doing this, you can lead your group to safety. They will not have to actually have a confrontation with these blank starmen.
Marisol keeps looking over her shoulder. Holy shit, we really got through that. I barely understand what you just did, but I like being alive, so thanks. Thanks, yeah, that's the word.
You're welcome. And she gives a little flourishing bow, and at least we're completely out of that. Now I just have to figure out what to do with his arm.
This is another thing where you can possibly apply your spin. Your arm has been disabled, and it seems like there's something working its way through your, I don't know what you want to call it exactly, your chakras or some shit, your lines of energy. Go ahead and give me another spin roll.
How many fate points do I have now?
You are down to 1. I'll give you actually 1 fate point back because that was kind of a self-compel to touch this thing, even though it was clearly weird and dangerous and alien. That's like a drawn to danger type of thing that you did. So I'll say you have 2.
I will re-roll.
Are they near the house?
They're making their way, but they seem to also be trying to follow the circular path and failing at it, so they're slowed down. You know what? You can invoke your daydreamer. That was kind of like a weird, surreal situation. If you apply that weird dreamlike logic, you could wring your arm out of the problem. You could wring whatever happened as if your arm were made of clay or cloth, and that is how that would look to everybody, by the way. If you applied the spin to your arm, you would just see Simone's arm spin, like the flesh is twisting. It looks like it'd be broken or some shit, like it probably should be.
Oh my god! Is that doing it? What? Are you okay?
Once it goes through the spin and returns to normal, you can feel it again.
And she'll inflex her fingers again and go, well, that was an interesting experience. And she'll kind of just look like the twisting of her arm bothered her much at all.
Marisol's just blinking. Well, okay, let's just go, I guess. You can explain that later.
Oh, explain what?
All the... whatever you're doing.
Oh, that. Sure, I can do that.
Yeah, I see that you can do that.
I meant to explain it. Sorry if I was unclear.
Oh, yeah, yes, you can. Because that was crazy.
You guys are going to the house, though. You're getting in the house where you can seek shelter for the moment. Kev is out on the porch staring at these things.
Marisol's gonna run by him and say, those things, like, merge, and I don't know what they are, but don't let them touch you. It was pretty bad.
And Simone's kind of rushing past them, kind of like, better not. Just watch out and don't touch or anything, like Marisol said.
Wait.
It turns out very bad.
I just realized something. Kevan, you can do the pushy thing. And she like motions with her arm, doing like a forceful, like, she just repeats it over and over.
You mean drift?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
You idiots brought a bunch of alien monsters back to the house.
Not on purpose. But where else were we supposed to go?
To hell!
Kevan.
Where you came from!
Oh.
Kind of hard to do that.
Earth is pretty hellish, though, to be fair.
I'll take care of this problem, I guess. I don't know how these things work, but I feel an itch to kick some ass.